Bangladesh, a nation that promises great achievements in the years to come. Slowly, her potentials are being realized and accelerating development at an ever so fast rate. Bangladesh is an emerging economy but too dependent on the exports of ready-made garments. Leather offers a significant opportunity with both cheap labor and abundant raw materials. However, leather exports are being held back for one key reason.
We are the biggest finished leather exporter in the Italian and German shoe factory from Bangladesh. And last year, I lose almost 3 million square feet, equivalent $9 million. And another German customer in the Lloyd, which one they are also placing big order, but finally they canceled this order because of the environmental facility in our country, which one we cannot provide. This is the main reason we are losing our customer. Right now, where we are producing our leather factory, that one is relocated is 1940 in the very small places, also close to the Dhaka city. This reason we cannot make the effluent treatment plant that place, and this is why we are discharge our water in the river, where it's also damaging all the the local peoples, also workers also suffering for this. The river also affected for this. This is also one of the biggest damage for us.
People living around city dwellers, they were complaining the environment was being despoiled. Importers from abroad had been complaining about it. Overall, globally, there is a sort of a negative aspect of this, raw leather industries being within densely populated area. So government had to do it.
As the tanneries built up, there was no longer any space in Hazaribagh to establish a CETP. The proposed solution was to relocate the entire tanning industry to a new industrial estate on the outskirts of Dhaka city in Sabah. The Sabah estate has all the facilities needed to ensure environmental compliance, including most importantly the CETP, which takes in the effluent from all the tanneries, treats it and releases it to the river in a way that will not harm the environment. So why didn't this reform happen? The Asia Foundation came in and started to find the answer by talking to the senior leaders in the sector.
We believe that it's very important to understand why Hazaribagh was not able to set up effluent treatment plant in the first place. And I think to understand that, we have to understand that when that industrial zone was built for leather tanneries, there was not the kind of environmental consciousness that exists in the world today. Even though maybe there was some will, there was no knowledge, there was no know-how, there was nothing. It also has to be admitted that there was no genuine desire or commitment on the part of the private sector to also build an effluent treatment plant, because very frankly we didn't understand the importance of that. Government in itself, I would like to say, I think was not very consistent in wanting to enforce this. Despite many stated proclamations of deadlines for relocation, nothing was enforced. The divisions within the sector itself were also a major problem. The leather industry in Bangladesh, the tanneries specifically, are basically divided into three camps: the raw to wet blue tanneries, the wet blue to crust tanneries, and the crust to finish tanneries. Now, each one of these tanneries have conflicting, sometimes, points of view and interests. Even though the people in the finished leather tanneries maybe were a little bit ahead of the curve and wanted to move forward towards environmental protection, the people who were doing raw to wet blue were definitely not as involved or as knowledgeable, maybe lacked the financial resources, and certainly didn't have the same commitment or impetus to do that.
Previous attempts at the relocation failed because they did not contend with these binding constraints. For example, in 2003, an MOU was signed between the government and the leather associations, but neither party was fully invested in the relocation, resulting in a breakdown of the agreement.
Unfortunately, with the change of regime in Bangladesh, government backtracked and I have to say defaulted on a signed agreement with industry. Suddenly government said to industry, now you need to pay for the central effluent treatment plant. In our point of view, this was completely inconsistent and irrational.
The Asia Foundation started working in this sector in 2013 and created a reform coalition that worked with both high-profile government and industry leaders. The coalition was able to understand the incentives of both the senior policymakers in the government and the high-profile industry leaders. Through their intensive interventions, the relocation came to the attention of the Prime Minister and other high-level politicians who realized that this was an issue that could help them win the national election. Furthermore, they consistently stressed both the costs and benefits to the industry owners in an impartial way, which convinced them of the business case of the relocation.
And Asia Foundation played a very catalytic role in removing this wall of misunderstanding. And they went out of their way, spent a lot of time in bringing the two parties together. And finally in 2013, an MOU was signed where both the parties, the tanners and the government, came to an agreement.
The Asia Foundation did new research to highlight the potential of the sector once the groundwork for the relocation was done through the MOU and addressing the trust issues between the different players.
This coalition has not only gathered credible information but has also projected in a very credible way in terms of estimation and the demand which can come in the future. I thought that's the way to combine knowledge with information and also research with the policymakers. Information-based advocacy is always helpful for a policymaker like us.
We approached to various agencies like Japanese, JICA, World Bank, IFC, through our Bangladesh Bank. Our industry minister, that is his best efforts, these all bottlenecks for building central ETP is removed. My approach to the government, to the IFC or any other world donating agencies, donor agencies, they should come forward, and we can guarantee them that we will produce world better class leather.
The coalition continuously expanded the focus of the reform to new players and issues, which raised the profile of the relocation and ensured public interest, creating pressure on both the government and industry. The construction of the CETP in Sabah is expected to be completed by mid-2015, meaning the Sabah estate may be operational by the end of the year. As the CETP takes shape, more than 100 tanneries have also begun construction of new factories in Sabah. The achievement of environmental compliance in Sabah will produce new opportunities for Bangladesh leather, including the new major markets such as the United States.
And this will open up America as a huge market for Bangladeshi leather exports, shoes and everything else. And I see the day when America, which produces some of the best hides in the world, will have a major export of raw leather to Bangladesh. It will be processed here in Savar, made into shoes and finished leather goods, and then exported back to America. That is a win-win-win for everybody. I'm very proud of that. This is the message I've already been telling back in America. Just 2 weeks ago, I spoke with executives of major American shoe importers and leather product importers, exporters of hides, exporter of chemicals, and people want to do business. So I'm telling this story, and Bangladesh needs to keep telling this story to open up the world to these exports.
So we are very happy and also expecting that once the tannery can shift to the new location, the Sabah area, then all the pollution problems can be improved, and of course the quality of the leather and of course the delivery, everything can be improved. Then that will be very benefited to us.
So I, on behalf of industry, would like to thank Asia Foundation for this, because here you had finally somebody who could play sort of the honest advocate role. There was no vested interest, there was no hidden agenda of the Asia Foundation, they were not committed to any of these constituency groups, so they were trusted and they were able to earn the trust of the various constituents in the process. And I am very confident that once this shift happens, not only will we get a resurgence of Bangladeshi leather exports from an environmentally compliant source, we will also get new investments both domestically and locally.
The relocation is a gateway to new opportunities. It will allow Bangladesh to diversify its narrow export basket. It will reshape the leather industry of Bangladesh with new markets and products. Given Bangladesh's competitive advantage in this sector, the relocation may push the leather industry even beyond the successes of the ready-made garment sector and will help pave the way to Bangladesh's achieving middle-income economy status in the next few years.